Hi there guys, welcome back to Racing Insider Bets. It's Josh here, yes we know. And today we're looking at a Cheltenham Antepost recap and with a few more selections now that the some of the big handicaps lineups have been dropped recently. So we've got a bit more to get our teeth into. We'll obviously recap how our sort of 6 other picks are doing in the market and how they're kind of faring at the moment. And yeah, that's really the plan for today. Obviously, the last Cheltenham video did really well, so hopefully this can kind of emulate that. So please like and subscribe if you're enjoying the content. And we'll get cracking in a minute. I'm just going to talk about last weekend. We had a good winner on Friday, 3-1. I did actually have one here. I've got it in my notes. I'm going to show you in my notes. I forgot to say. I don't know if you can see. Inevitable outcome 9-2. He ended up winning as well. I forgot to say. Actually, genuinely forgot to speak about him. So that's my fault. But technically, there were 2 on Friday, and then should have had at least one on the Saturday. Gray's diamond falling at the last would have 100% won that. Wincanton would have landed a gamble in from 6-1 to 11-4. So that would have been pretty unbelievable. But hey, what can you do? I move on. Nerfs didn't really perform particularly well. Get to lead, got withdrawn. So. Yeah, we got to move on. Sky is run well, I thought, but move on. Straight into Cheltenham Antepost. So I'm going to just do a quick recap of our sort of first 6 selections in the order that I put them up as. So the first one was 3-Stripe Life in the Supreme Novice, 25-1. He is still 25-1 on 365 for the Supreme Novice hurdle. And that was after he ran at Leopardstown over the Christmas period. I think he showed real promise. Ran up behind, I think it was Mighty Potter or something. So I can't remember who it was. Close up behind him. He got a really unlucky race. Had to switch a few times. Had a few was hindered a few times during the race, and he went down like a length. And that I think he probably would have won. He was getting there in the line. I actually think he would have. I think that shows a lot of promise that run. And I'm surprised he's still 25-1. I'm pretty certain he will go here, and if he does, I think we've got a cracking chance. 25-1. Obviously, the top of the market, the likes of John Bond, Constitution Hill, so Gerhard. Obviously, Constitution Hill looked good on on the weekend in the Tolworth, but there's nothing really in the race. Obviously, Constitution Hill does look impressive, but I still think we've got a good. The value there is no point. It's 13-8. John Bond's like 3-1, and so Gerhard's 9-2. I haven't really seen a lot from Siegel. Obviously, he's a very good horse, but I still think 25-1 for 3-Stripe Life. He's going to improve for everyone he has, and I think he's going to have a real chance if he's there on the day. And we've got a massive price as well. So, I think that's definitely one to keep a hold of. The second one was Lossy Mouth for Ballymore, put him up 20-1. He's now up to 40-1. Had a bit of a stinker at Newbury over the Christmas period. I think it was on the 29th, didn't he? Didn't run particularly well. I don't think he was helped out by the ground. Didn't really suit him. I still think, it was bottomless ground. He came up against Stage Star, Nichol's horse, and I don't know. I think he's still one to keep hold of. I think 40-1 is actually quite a good price. Whether he goes, I think I'm not 100% sure now if he goes after that. We'll see. But I think 40-1 is still one to have locked up in your pocket. I wouldn't be giving up on him, let's put it that way. So I'm still not dismayed about Lossy Mouth, even though he had a bit of a stinker in that race at Newbury on the 29th. So yes, and then we got Shan Blue for the Ryanair at 12-1. Still is 12-1. Obviously, he hasn't run since he had the fall after he fell when he would have won that Weatherby pretty convincingly in the Charlie Hall. He has an entry into the Ultima, and he's 8-1 favourite for that at the moment. But he hasn't. I don't think he has ever run a handicap before, and I think if he's fit, he will. If he's 100% fit, I think he'll go here. It'd be interesting to see how the Skeletons get along. I think they'll probably run him one more time before Cheltenham, but I think he'll go to Cheltenham. I need to check what the any race is on him. I haven't seen that. That might be a bit more of a bet, but I think obviously it's still 12-1, and we'll just have to see what happens with the Ultimate. I'm not sure. I don't know if I send him there or not, but we will see. Number 4 was Champ. Obviously, that's looking very nice at the moment. For this 20-1 for the Stayers Hurdle is now into 7-2 on Bet365. He does hold an entry into the Gold Cup, and I heard Nick Jensen today on was it the Racing Debate saying that the yard is like 50-50 whether he goes chasing or if he goes stays over hurdles. I think there's I think he was saying that there's some stuff going on at on the same weekend. There's a prep race at Cheltenham, or he can go to, I think it's Newbury, to go into the Denman, and I guess that's when we'll see where he'll go. So he hasn't talked to JP McManus yet about it, so we'll see. I think we hold a great chance. I would be surprised if he goes chasing. I just think he's got such a great chance in Stayers Hurdle. I don't understand why they'd switch him back over fences, especially with the back issue he had last season. So it's looking really good at the moment. Obviously, 20-1 into 7-2 is very nice, and hopefully, if he stays, I think he'll stays with hurdles. I think it will. I think that'll be looking very pretty come Cheltenham time. And then the 5th pick was Blazing Cal at 10-1 for the Albert Bartlett. He's into 5-1 favourites. Obviously won the Albert Bartlett prep race in the was it December or November meeting? In the December meeting, I think it was. Beat Gelino Bello again. I think he's going to be really tough to beat in a Bartlett, and I think we're really in a very good position there. He'll be a lot shorter on the day. We've got him at 10-1. So I know I just missed the price on him. He was 20-1 before. I've taken him at 10-1, but we've still got a decent double figure price on him for the Bartlett, and I think he'll go very close if not winning. So yeah, that's looking really good as well. And then we got for the 6th and final selection, we had Album Photo 20-1 for the Gold Cup, is now 7-1 after his what is now becoming sort of almost a guarantee win at Tremor on, what was it, Boxing Day, or over Christmas period. I think it might be 29th. I can't remember honestly. I haven't really paid attention, but he did win that pretty easily. Looked good. Obviously, get him out there, get the legs, get him fresh. That's what he thought he'd do. It'd be interesting to see actually what Mullins does with him, because he did say at the start of the season he wanted to campaign him a bit more heavily this season, get him out a bit more, because normally he just does Tremor, then he goes to Cheltenham, and then goes to Leopardstown. Punchestown. What am I talking about? I was like, that's not right. Punchestown, and then and that's kind of it. He runs about 3 times, but this time he did say this season he wanted to come out more. So whether he does have one more race before Cheltenham, we'll be interesting to see. I still think he's in a good spot for the Gold Cup. I really do. I think that's actually the division as a whole has been sort of been up in the air since because of Christmas. Obviously, with Milindo, Frodon, all running pretty poorly. Milindo really didn't look particularly great in the King George. Obviously the Tornado Flyer won that, and I think it's a very open race now. Obviously, Plutard is favourite still. Galvin looked good at Leopardstown, obviously chinning Plutard. I'm interested what they do with Galvin. He could go to the National, which is quite cool. But I think it's a wide open division, if you ask me, and I do really think that I think we're sitting in a pretty nice spot with ABP at 20-1. Let's put it that way. I think it should place, so I think we're in profit anyway there, really. And 7-1, I think that could go further. And on the day, he won't be anywhere near it. So I think he'll go there, barring any sort of injury or anything. So hopefully, fingers crossed, we'll get there, and we'll be sitting with a pretty price there. So the sort of first 3 have been a bit here. I think 3-Shot Life definitely want to hang on to. Lossy Mouth, hopefully we'll see. Maybe that might be a bit of romanticism from being the first winner I had on the channel. But and Chambly will be interesting to see where he goes to Cheltenham or not. But hopefully the last row we're set really nicely. So and hopefully we can get, obviously Cheltenham's in, was it 9 weeks time? Will we be in a nice spot for that? And yeah, so what I've been looking at now, obviously, was looking at the overall picture for the when they've dropped the big handicaps out. I've been looking at some of the horses, and obviously now there's been a bit of movement in the markets, ins and outs, and horses that are looking good, not maybe like looking good in start of the season, didn't cover themselves in glory over Christmas. So we've got to sort of. I've been weeding through, and I've picked out 3, and then I'm going to give an honourable mention to 4, just so you can have one to add to our Cheltenham Antepost bet slips. And the first one is in the Boodles Juvenile hurdle. That's over 2 miles, and I think Siegel, 25-1 on Bet365 is a really interesting runner. It's out of the Mill Mead Yard and basically has the same sort of profile of a horse as last year's winner, Jeff Kidder, who won up at 80-1 on the day. He's also a Nolme trained horse that was dual purpose flat horse as well. So he's only run once over hurdles, and he won that at Punchestown. It was a very similar race to what Jeff Kidder ran in before he won, which is a Punchestown as well as a prep race for this. And he actually won that. Jeff Kidder, I think, is 7 of 7. Ben Siegel won it pretty convincingly. Looked really good. It was in a maiden hurdle. Won by 4.5 lengths, I think it was, and he didn't beat any mugs in behind. He beat a horse for Dr. Churchill, who followed up that with a win next time out at Limerick. And in that race, Dr. Churchill actually ended up beating the favourite for this race at the moment. I think he's 10-1, Champion Green. So that ties in quite nicely. And I think Dr. Churchill was 3rd or 4th in this race. So he beat him by a fair few lengths. I think Ben Siegel has been kind of overlooked here. He's got he has entries into a few more of these, but I don't think he does have any entries into more of these. And I think he's going to have a real chance if he does actually end up going to the Boodles, because normally he's got a good record in. Obviously, won it last year. I think he's pretty much lined up the same pathway for Ben Siegel to be successful again. He's a very decent flat horse as a 3-year-old. Also, it's a dual-purpose yard, so he's running. So they know him well. He won twice on turf over 1 mile 1 furlong and 1 mile 5 furlongs. And he also placed 3 other times in his 3-year-old campaign, which was only obviously last flat season. And on his last race over the flats, he came third of 11 at Dundalk off a mark of 76. So he had a decent flat rating as a 3-year-old. And that was only in November. And he won actually on the flat. I think it was maybe at Down Royal. In October, he won on the turf there at 1 mile 5. So he hasn't really had much of a break. I wonder if they'll give him a break now going into sort of the new year and maybe look to run him straight away into the Cheltenham Festival, or maybe sneak him into a race 1 month before and keep get him fresh to get him ready for it. But he's a very solid horse. Obviously, as I said, he has a very sort of similar profile to Jeff Kidder, and I think he could be smuggled into this race. And at 25-1 will be a big shout for us. I really think it's quite a weak market. I think he's got a real chance. And as I said, the form line tying into Champion Green, his favourite, I think Ben Siegel is actually being really overlooked. And 25-1 is a massive price for him. I'd be willing to take a shot, Ben Siegel, for the Nolme Yard in the Boodles to kick off our sort of update for the Cheltenham Antepost. And then we're going to move swiftly on to another one of the handicaps. It's a Grand Annual Chase over 2 miles. And in this one, I'm going to go for Editeur de Gite. He's 20-1 on Bet365. Obviously, has been very impressive in the last couple of Cheltenham meetings, winning both of those. And he's beaten some really decent horses in that in October and December. November and December. Was it? Anyway, in the meetings, he beat in the first race he beat Stolen Silver and Bundoran, and then he beat Bundoran again, Chendleton and Amula Gold in his last one. They're very decent sort of handicappers, and I think he's still has maybe a little bit of work in his mark. And I think I think Gary Moore's obviously a pretty shrewd trainer, and I think it's clear to see that he wants a Cheltenham horse this year, and I think he's been targeting him there because he's obviously ran at Cheltenham twice already and won there. He clearly likes the course, and I think he's going to have a real chance of 25-1 if he went there. 20-1 on the day. If he went there and he had 20-1 on him, I think it'd be a very interesting horse. I'm assuming he'd put Ahoy in again. Obviously, he's been winning. He's been one of the last 2 times he's won. He's looked really, really good. He does have an entry into champion chase, but I think this is a more realistic avenue to pursue for Gary Moore, and I'm sure he will end up going in. I think 20 to 1 for Editor de Gite actually a really, really solid price. It'd be interesting to see if they run him one more time before this. You know, I don't know where they go. He seems to he's run at Ascot a few times, so maybe they go there. But we'll have to wait and see for that. But I do think he'll go to the Grand Annual, and I think if he went there, I'd struggle to see him out of the frame. So Editor G at 20 to 1 for me is definitely a play in the Grand Annual. Moving on again, and we're going to go to Martin Pipe Handicap Hurdle over 2 miles 4 furlongs. And now, so this is I was tempted to not say anything here. I was really like, I must admit when I was writing this, I was like, oh, this feels like a throwaway, and but I just can't. The talent is there. I have to say it. I think it might be worth just risking the money, because obviously they don't actually end up being declared for the race. You don't get the money back if they get withdrawn. So it is a gamble, but we're going to have to cross the fingers and hope. We're going to go in the Martin Pipe. I'm going to back Gerri Colombe at 20 to 1 on Bet365. I think he's second in the market to Langadan, the Skelton horse, who hasn't actually ran since he was in this last year. Came second, I think, in this last year. But I think Gerri Colombe is a very interesting prospect of Gordon Elliott's yard. Gordon Elliott does has a load of horses entered into this race, and I think if he actually ends up sending Gerri Colombe here, he'll have the biggest chance of all of them. He does have an entry into the Ballymore, so we just got to hope he doesn't go in there. But maybe I don't think he wins the Ballymore. I don't think he does. I don't think he wins the Ballymore. From what I've seen so far, he's obviously a very talented horse, but I think he'd have a much better chance of winning the Martin Pipe than the Ballymore. He's only raced 3 times. He's very light the race. He's obviously very unexposed, but he's won all 3, and that's been twice over sort of a national hunt flats and then once over hurdles. His first ever race on the race course in a rules race. He won by 24 lengths on a heavy ground at Fairyhouse, and he beat a Mullins horse called Hi Ho Phoenix that day, who then went on to win first time over hurdles in December. So that's been Frank Foreman. He won by that 24 lengths. That's massive. And then he won first time out over. He won obviously his second time out over over the national flats, and then went over and then in December went over hurdles for the first time at Downroyal on Boxing Day, and he won by 8.5 lengths over the same trip as this race, over 2 miles 4 furlongs. So I think obviously this is his trip, and the same trip as Ballymore. I think he'd have a shot in this. I think he'd have a much better shot in this. It'd be interesting to see if they run him again to see where he kind of stands with that. And I think he does want softer ground. He won obviously by 24 lengths on heavy ground, then won by I think it was 8 lengths, maybe 4 maybe like 4 lengths on sort of yielding ground, and then on soft ground obviously won one in Boxing Day. I think he looks very good. Looks a very good prospect to jump, and I think he's obviously got that sort of that speed. And I think if he goes to this as being for being that unexposed, I think we give him Sander in a great stead. I think he'd have a massive chance. Obviously, Gordon Elliott will want to be a KM champion trainer. I think obviously he's not got as many superstars in his stable at the moment, but I think he'll be looking to win. And I think if he sends Gerri Colombe here, I think he'd have the best chance of doing so. So I think it's worth a gamble at 20 to 1 for the Martin Pipe is Gerri Colombe. And then I'm just going to give one more just as a wild shout, wild thought, it's the top of the dome in the National Hunt Chase. Now, after seeing what Brave Man's Game did to Ahoy Senor, obviously when he beat him pretty convincingly at Sandown, was it Sandown? It was on Boxing Day. Anyway, it was on Boxing Day, I think. I can't remember where it was, honestly. Time's just gone like that, I don't really remember these things. But I think it was on Boxing Day. Yeah, he beat him pretty soundly there. And so that makes me think, is he going to go to the Brown Advisory? Is he really going to go to the RSA and then obviously Chase to go up against, Galloping Deschamps, who's or Brave Man's Game. I mean, I think Gallop and Chomps beats Brave Man's Game, and then Brave Man's Game will beat Ahoy Senor. So, is there really much point? Like, I don't think Lucinda Russell's going to see that and think, "Oh, we'll just chuck him in there because he's almost as good." I think, and I know he has another entry in in the Gold Cup as well. He's not good enough to win the Gold Cup, I don't think, at the moment. I think that's a silly bet. I don't see him beating sort of an Plitard or a Galvin, let alone an album photo. Who's going to smash it? Um, so I think he has the scope to go over the 3 miles 6. I think he has the scope to up himself in trip because they've kind of gone that was it that novice's chase is over 3 miles. Gold Cup's over 3 miles too, and then this is over 3 and 6. I think they've kind of set him up to like. I think they might know he can last a bit longer. I think they'd be interested to go it. I think he's probably a bit better than 300 through 5, who's I think the 8-1. And then I'm just kind of like scrounging around. It's just a thought in my head. He's 14-1, right? I think he's. I don't think he goes to the RSA. I don't think he does. I think and I don't really think he goes to the Gold Cup. But I think he's good enough to be at Cheltenham. So the people who run Wild Fred, Statler, and Fury Road, they're not like they won't blow your sock. They're not going to blow your socks off. I really think he's got. If I think he might go here, 14-1 would be very interesting. Whether do I put him up? Do I put him up is the question. If he went to this race, I think he'd have every chance in the world at winning it. I might put a tentative shout on Ahoy Senor for the National Amp Chase just because of that thought process. I don't think he's good enough to beat Gallop in the Champs or Brave Man's Game, so would he go to the Novice Chase? I don't think he's good. He's not good enough to win a Gold Cup at the moment. I don't think. I mean, that's obviously could prove me wrong, but I don't think he is. As much as that sort of races up in the air, I still think there's classier horses in the mix there. And then where does that leave him? He's probably good enough horse to go to Cheltenham. Why would he not take on this race as a little bit weaker? Maybe I think he's got. I think Ahoy Senor maybe for the National Chase will be 14-1. Be an interesting shout. Whether I'm going. You know what? I'm going to put him up just to, fuck it. Why not? We'll put him up. Yeah, Ahoy Senor for the National Chase. You've heard me what my reasonings behind it, and we'll see. Hopefully he this sort of mad train of thought. It's like the beautiful mind, and it's just calculations, and he comes here. We don't know. We'll see. It's a bit of a shot in the dark, but there's a bit of logic behind it. It's reason, method behind the madness. So hopefully, that's it. And so that's actually 4 horses putting up. That takes the tally to 10. Whether we actually add any more to that, I don't know. Obviously, we'll have another update video next month after we kind of see what happens in January, and then February, March, and then April. So we'll continue doing these China videos, continue looking at the market, seeing where we're right and where we're wrong, seeing if there's any changes that we can look to add in and any value that's there. So thanks for watching. If you're still here, obviously it's been a bit of a we just started bit of a long one, but we'll appreciate you guys watching. Please like and subscribe if you've got this far, and obviously there'll be more content like this coming out soon. And I hope you guys have a good day wherever this finds you, and hopefully we get some more good luck with our selection. So have a good one, guys. Cheers.